Chevrolet Chevelle Third Generation, 1973 to 1977. The most extensive redesign in its 10-year history marked the 1973 Chevelle. Due to concern over proposed federal rollover standards, convertible and four-door hardtop models were discontinued, while the two-door hardtop was replaced by a pillared coupe, named Colonnade Hardtop. This body style featured a semi-fastback roofline, frameless door glass and fixed, styled B-pillars, structurally strong enough to contribute to occupants' safety of a rollover-type accident. This move was somewhat controversial with the buying public, as hardtops had been a staple of American cars for over 20 years and their presence almost taken for granted. Once the initial surprise was overcome, however, the Colonnade models became a huge sales success. The Monte Carlo Coupe was the biggest seller of the Chevrolet A-body line, actually designated A Special, although the bread-and-butter coupes, sedans and station wagons also sold well. Distinctive rear quarter glass on two-door coupes and new side windows with styled center pillars were featured on four-door models. Rear windows on coupes no longer opened. In addition to the new roofline, front and rear ends looked markedly different this year, as 1973 was the year of the federally mandated 5 miles per hour, 8.0 kilometers per hour, front bumper, adding to the car's length. Additional new body features were an acoustical double-panel roof, tighter-fitting glass and flush-style outside door handles. Wheelbase dimensions were retained, a sporty 112 inches, 2,800 millimeters, for coupes and 116 inches, 2,900 millimeters, for sedans and station wagons, but bodies were 5 inches, 127 millimeters, longer and an inch wider with a 1 inch, 25 millimeters, wider wheel track. The station wagon, available in 6 or 9 passenger seating, featured a new counterbalanced liftgate which allowed for easier entry and loading up to 85 cubic feet. Plans to release the updated A-body lineup was scheduled for the 1972 model year, but a strike which occurred at some GM assembly plants delayed the release for a full model year, eventually extending the life cycle of the 1968 era generation. The redesigned A-bodies were designed in studio where it had more of a European influence. At the time of development, John Z. DeLorean was the chairman at the Chevrolet division, where he delayed some product releases and extending the life cycle of some of its products. The redesigned A-bodies had some styling cues lifted from the concurrent second-generation F-bodies. The front suspension was integrated into the A-body redesign with output from respective GM divisions. Each division had its own sheet metal design. 1973 models also introduced molded full foam front and rear seat construction, a flow-through power ventilation system, an inside hood release, a larger 22-gallon fuel tank, and flush and dry rocker panels introduced first on the redesigned 1971 full-size Chevrolets. Another structural improvement was side impact guard beams in the doors, as required by new federal motor vehicle safety standards. 25. New options included swivel bucket seats with console for coupes and turbine-eye steel-backed urethane wheels. A power moonroof was an option in 1973-75. Interior roominess of the 73 Chevelle was improved, particularly in the rear. Headroom was up slightly and shoulder room gains were by 1.6 inches, 41 millimeters. Rear seat legroom was up 3.5 inches, 89 millimeters, in sedans. Another was a 15.3 cubic foot, 430 liters, luggage capacity, an increase of 2.5 cubic feet, 71 liters, over 1972 models. Still another benefit of the new body designs was greatly improved visibility, up 25% in coupes and wagons, and 35% in sedans. The unusually thin windshield pillars also contributed to much better visibility. The chassis design was new, with a sturdier perimeter frame, revised chassis, body mounts, larger 8-inch rear axle, wider 6-inch wheel rim width, revised rear control arm bushings, increased front and rear suspension travel, adjusted shock absorber location, and revised front suspension geometry. 27. The left wheel was adjusted to have slightly more positive camber than the right, which resulted in a more uniform and stable steering feel on high ground road surfaces while maintaining freeway stability. Clearances for spring travel were also revised. The coil springs at each wheel were computer selected to match the individual car's weight. Front disc brakes were now standard on all 73 Chevelles. John Z. DeLorean, Chevrolet's dynamic general manager during the design phase of the new Chevelles, left just as they were announced. He departed in late September 1972 to start a brief period as vice president of General Motors' car and truck group. Critics compare the GM Colonnade line favorably to Ford and Chrysler Intermediates. 5 power teams were available for 1973 Chevelle models. The 250 inline-6 and 307 two-barrel V8, both rated at 110 horsepower, 82 kilowatts, were STD engines on Deluxe and Malibu. The 352-barrel V8 of 145 horsepower, 108 kilowatts, was the base Laguna engine. Options for any Chevelle included a 354-barrel V8 of 175 horsepower, 130 kilowatts, and a 454 4-barrel V8 rated at 245 horsepower, 183 kilowatts. Hardened engine valve seats and hydraulic camshafts made these engines reliable for many miles, and allowed them to accept the increasingly popular unleaded regular gasoline. 3-speed manual transmission was standard, 4-speed manual and turbo-hydromatic 3-speed automatic were optional. Cross-flow radiators and coolant reservoirs that prevented air from entering the system prevented overheating. Malibu and the newly named Deluxe Series base model featured the new 5 miles per hour, 8.0 kilometers per hour, bumper system with a large chrome front bumper and a chrome rear bumper. Malibu Series interiors included cloth and vinyl or all vinyl seat trim and deep twist carpeting. Deluxe Series interiors featured cloth and vinyl or knit vinyl seat trim. Floor coverings were color-keyed in vinyl-coated rubber. The SS was now a trim option limited to the mid-level Malibu Series. Shoppers could even get an SS station wagon this year, with the option of a 454 cubic inch V8 engine, no less, but the mix of sport and utilitarian wagon virtues would last only a single season. Included was a black grille with SS emblem, lower body side and wheel opening striping, bright roof strip moldings, color-keyed dual sport mirrors, black taillight bezels, SS fender and rear panel emblems, special front and rear stabilizer bars, 14 by 7 inch rally wheels, 70 series raised white lettered tires, special instrumentation and SS interior emblems. The SS option required an available 350 or 454 V8 with 4-speed or turbo-hydromatic transmission. Chevrolet honored California beach resorts once again by naming the top Chevelle Series Laguna, with the Malibu taking the middle spot while the base series was called simply Deluxe. In addition to the standard 352-barrel V8, Laguna models featured specific front and rear styling, including a body-colored urethane front end concealing the new 5 miles per hour bumper system. On minor impact, the urethane nose cone, backed up by shock-absorbing cylinders, deflects and rebounds. Laguna models also featured a specific die-cast chrome grille with body emblem, a body-colored, steel, rear bumper, front and rear bumper rub strips, bright roof strip moldings, bright wheel opening moldings, chrome taillight bezels, full wheel covers, and Laguna fender nameplates. 2 Laguna station wagons were introduced, including a Laguna Estate. Laguna interiors were patterned cloth and vinyl or optional breathable all vinyl upholstery, distinctive door trim with map pockets, deep twist carpeting, wood grain vinyl accents, and Laguna nameplates. Chevelle sales remained strong, 327,631 of them in the 1973 model year, plus 59,108 station wagons. The more upmarket Malibu continued to sell best by a wide margin, and many Chevelles went to the fleet market, but the costlier Laguna Coupe and Sedan made a respectable showing, with 56,036 going to customers. Super Sport options went on 28,647 Chevelles, of which 2,500 held the big 454 cubic inch engine. The SS option was dropped at the end of the model year. This section does not cite any sources. Please help improve this section by adding citations to reliable sources. Unsourced material may be challenged and removed. March 2020, learn how and when to remove this template message. This section possibly contains original research. Please improve it by verifying the claims made and adding inline citations. Statements consisting only of original research should be removed. March 2020, learn how and when to remove this template message. 1974 Chevrolet Chevelle Laguna Type S3 Colonnade Coupe. Annual facelifts continued. The 1974 model featured new chrome grills made of die-cast steel, and single rectangular tail lights replaced the dual round items on all coupes and sedans. More massive rear bumpers were also added, in accordance with stricter U.S. federal standards for 1974 cars. The Jubilant Laguna, which had been Chevelle's top-of-the-line model in 1973, became the sporty Laguna Type S3 and was only available as a coupe. It combined Laguna luxury with the upgraded handling of the SS, which it replaced. It also included GR7015 radial tires. The new Laguna S3 featured the urethane front end with a revised grille as well as new front lamps and taillights. The rear bumper on the Laguna S3 was chrome-plated rather than painted body color as on the 1973 car. Standard equipment included a console, a vinyl roof, Auber-type vertical rear quarter windows which could be covered with optional horizontal ribs, body side striping, Laguna S3 badging, rally wheels, a 4-spoke steering wheel, firmer springs and shock absorbers, a front anti-roll bar, and HR70x15 radial tires on rally wheels. Interior features included swiveling front bucket seats and a 6-style instrument cluster. Production totaled 15,792 cars. Standard engine was 350 cubic inches, 5.7 liters, producing 145 horsepower, 108 kilowatts, with a 2-barrel carburetor, with options for a 150 horsepower, 112 kilowatts, 2-barrel or 180 horsepower, 134 kilowatts, 4-barrel 400 cubic inches, 6.6 liters, V8, and a 230 horsepower, 172 kilowatts 454 cubic inches, 7.4 liters, V8, except in California where a 155 horsepower, 116 kilowatts, 354-barrel V8 was standard and the 400 and 454 engines were optional. The 454 was available with GM's THM 400 automatic or Muncie 4-speed manual transmission. Unitized 3-point seat belts were introduced as on all Chevrolet models. The upscale luxury trim level for 1974 was the new Malibu Classic, offered in sedan, coupe, and station wagon models. Unlike the 1973 Laguna, the Malibu Classic used the same front end and chrome bumper as the lesser models, and had the smaller vertical opera windows and a spring-loaded hood ornament. Early production 1974 Classic coupes required the vinyl roof option, apparently according to whom? Inserts were used to cover part of the big rear quarter window. Citation needed. Later built cars were available with a standard painted roof that included the smaller opera window. This configuration was continued through the end of Chevelle production in 1977. Inside, the Malibu Classic interiors had notchback bench seats, clarification needed, upholstered in cloth or vinyl, carpeted door panels, and simulated wood grain instrument panel trim. Optional on Malibu Classic coupes were swiveling bucket seats in cloth or vinyl. The Base Deluxe series was dropped for 1974, making the Malibu the base model. Base engines were the 250 cubic inches, 4.1 liters, straight 6 engine and the 350 V8. For 1975, the Colonnade designation was dropped. Front and rear changes included a vertical grid pattern grille and new bright trim around the headlights. Rectangular taillights were flush with the body surface, connected by a brushed chrome panel. Malibu Classic coupes had distinctive upper windows. Landau coupes came with a vinyl roof, full wheel covers, white wall tires, color-keyed body striping, and dual sport mirrors. Engines ranged from the standard 256 and 350 halves barrel V8 to options of 400 and 454 cubic inch size, the last with a 235 horsepower rating. Variable ratio power steering was now standard with V8 models, and all 1975 models came with steel-belted radial tires and a catalytic converter. A new Chevrolet efficiency system included GM's new high-energy ignition, high, for longer tune-up intervals and more complete combustion. Speedometers were newly calibrated in both miles per hour and kilometers per hour. The Laguna Type S3 was delayed until January 1975. It now had a slanted, urethane-covered aero-style nose designed for NASCAR, louvered quarter windows, and could be ordered with a vinyl half roof. The 454 engine option was available for the first half of the model year, after which the 400 engine became the top engine. Options included an economizer gauge package. The 1976 Malibu Classic received a crosshatch grille flanked by two stacked rectangular sealed beam headlamps, while lesser models had a waterfall grille and continued with the previous single round lamps. 3 V8 engines were available. A new 305 cubic inches, 5.0 liters, engine rated at 140 horsepower, 104 kilowatts, a 350 cubic inches, 5.7 liters, engine providing 165 horsepower, 123 kilowatts, and a 400 cubic inches, 6.6 liters, engine with 175 horsepower, 130 kilowatts. An economizer gauge package was optional. In its third and final year, the 1976 Laguna Type S3 was little changed. It again featured quarter window louvers and a sloped, body color urethane front end. Lagunas shared their round gauge instrument panel with a Chevrolet Monte Carlo and could be ordered with a 4-spoke sport steering wheel as well as swivel front bucket seats and a center console. Lesser models had a dashboard and a linear readout speedometer. Production of the Laguna edged up to 9,100 cars. The 1977 Chevelles featured new grilles. The lineup consisted of Malibu and Malibu Classic models in coupe, sedan, and station wagon body styles. Estate wagons and the Laguna Type S3 were gone. Malibu Classics, again the top model, switched to a vertical grille pattern and 6-section taillights but kept their twin stacked headlights and stand-up hood ornament. Malibu grilles changed little. Fewer engine selections were available, though the engines that remained gained a few horses. In standard form, Chevelles had a 250 cubic inches, 4.1 liters, 6-cylinder engine or a 145 horsepower, 108 kilowatts, 305 V8. The sole option beyond that was a 170 horsepower, 127 kilowatts, 4-barrel 350 V8, which came as standard equipment in the Malibu Classic station wagon. Malibu Classics had a luxurious cloth, vinyl split bench front seat, color-keyed steering wheel, and wood grain accented instrument panel. Malibu options included an exterior decor group, tinted glass, and full wheel covers. A total of 37,215 Malibu Classic Landau coupes were produced, as opposed to 73,739 Malibu Classic coupes and 28,793 Malibu coupes. In 4-door sedan form, too, the Malibu Classics outsold base models by a substantial margin. A Chevelle Special Edition was available and provided front and rear spoilers, turbine 2 wheels, F60-15 tires, special graphics and decals, quarter window trim, front and rear sway bars, sport suspension, and a deluxe interior. 3 colors were available. 50 of these cars were built. The 1977 models were the last to bear the Chevelle name. With the all-new 1978 models, Malibu became the basic name for Chevrolet's midsize cars.